Well, welcome everybody to the Maximized Monday Opportunity Call. We've changed this up a few months ago and made it more of a flare of opportunity to be able to share with new people that you're coming across and meeting. And so tonight we've got a young man. I call him a young man. He's still young. He's younger than me, so that's good. Marc Lesser. He's built an international business, folks, and I want to just share with you how big that is, okay? That's done over $250 million in sales with Zango, just his organization. He's a 100K premier, and he's a multi-million-dollar earner as well. Okay, so Marc has studied business and economics. That's doing pretty well in college. Worked as a CPA, so he knows those numbers, and financial coach, and has 20 years of network marketing business in those years, okay? Let me check one more thing here real quickly. Okay, we're good. Okay, well, welcome, Marc. Are you there?
I am here, Tom, and thank you for having me on the call tonight, and certainly thank you for calling me a young man. I appreciate that wholeheartely.
You're young. Well, tell us where you hail at down there in California.
Yeah, right now I reside in Marina del Rey, California, right outside Venice Beach, and very blessed to have a view of the water and the boats here with my wife and daughter, and living a tremendous Zango life. And while it's amazing now, as we'll learn in the next coming minutes, it's always a journey and at times a struggle, but anything worthwhile is worth fighting for and worth working for.
That sounds like a beautiful area to be living at and being at the beach. Appreciate you sharing that. You know, we're gonna throw this back and forth a little bit, and I'm gonna ask Marc a few questions, and he's gonna get into it here in just a minute. But you know, Marc, we've known each other for a lot of years, and even in previous things. But you know, I learned that you had a wake-up call in life a number of years ago. Can you share with us, you know, what you learned from that and how it changed you?
Well, certainly, Tom, and I appreciate you asking, because it's always something that no matter how many years later, and I believe it's been 12 plus, almost 13 years with Zango, it always resonates in my heart, because really there's nothing more important than health. I think everyone on this call will agree that you can have all the money in the world, you can have all the time in the world, but if you don't have a quality of life and good health, then not much else seems to matter. And for me, after a major head-on collision, and fortunately surviving it with a seatbelt on 5 minutes before the collision, I was able to avoid a massive spinal surgery, which I was scared to death of, what the consequences might be. As an athlete my entire life and someone that was into martial arts, I was at a turning point in my life, health-wise, and I had to make a decision, and I decided to go holistic, and was fortunate enough to find this Zango juice, or the whole fruit puree of the mangosteen, from the third chiropractor that I was working with to improve my health and avoid a spinal surgery. And I have to tell you that at that moment, while I didn't know what I had my hands on, several months later, I did. And my life changed for the better from that point forward.
Well, Marc, tell us what led you to investigate network marketing. I think you was Zango your first MLM?
Actually, no. I was after being a CPA, as you had alluded to. I realized that after a second tax season, I didn't want to be in a cubicle and kind of stuck to an office setting. I ventured into the insurance industry, which is really where I learned about the power of leverage and residual income. And in fact, it was at the insurance company that I worked with that I met a friend of mine who first introduced me to network marketing. And while a positive experience, health-wise, in my first endeavor, this was over 20 years ago, At that time, you had to inventory products and sell them out of the trunk of your car, and it wasn't for everyone, and certainly wasn't for the CPAs and attorneys that I was working with, so I kind of let it fall by the wayside. So while I understood the power of the leverage and developing a residual income, at that time, at least with the company I was introduced to, it didn't make enough sense for me to take away from my insurance practice.
Awesome. That's a good background. I know Carol and I have had a similar background, and you keep pushing on for sure. So, well, Marc, with your college background in business and economic, I'm guessing you have some focused views for the best and most successful ways to create income and hold on to that income. Could you share with our callers why Zango? And that's a pretty broad question there, so I'm just going to let you run with it for a little bit.
Well, certainly, for me, everyone has to come up with their own personal story. Everyone has their own purpose in this life, I believe. Whether we recognize that or not, that's another story. But because of the life-changing results I experienced with the juice, and in fact, they were life-changing. And Dr. Templeman, I want to throw a shout out to him, what I consider the man's leading authority on this fruit, really was the one that was instrumental in helping encourage me to continue drinking the juice and doubling my dosage. I want to make that clear, because at first I didn't get results, and I could have said it doesn't work, but I was so eager to avoid the knife and surgery and find a holistic answer to my problems that I was able to push forward. And that's what I encourage everyone on this call, whether you're here to improve your health or to improve your financial position in life, that you're going to get bumps and hurdles like you do in every area of your life. Don't let that stop you. There are going to be obstacles along the way. That's just the way it is. But had I stopped, Tom, I probably would have ended up in, getting a surgical procedure that I would have regretted the rest of my life, and never found this wonderful life of helping other people to better health through Zango. I will say, timing-wise, we're into our second decade, well into our second decade. And for those that may be aware of this industry, it's pretty much known that you get this initial wave of momentum, which certainly with the juice in our first 5 years, we did over $1 billion. That's tremendous growth. And that's what got my attention business-wise after I experienced the health benefits. I realized that at that time, here was a company with a product that is now patented, and at that time wasn't, but the lives that were changing, including my own, were profound, and I wanted to be a part of that growth. Now that we're 13 plus or 14 years into existence, the product line, of course, expands, and I really believe we've been ahead of the curve every step of the way, including our current lines with picks, our latest line of tinctures that are fantastic. And it gives us a new wave of growth into what most companies experience this growth, and then a lull or a plateau. It makes sense. And then they recharge the troops with new products, new bonuses, new programs that I'm sure you share with your team. And the reality is that this opportunity today is better than when I got involved with the tools, the product line, and most importantly with the support. The time has never been better. I will say this quickly because of my background. I can't help it. And the fact that tax day just finished. For people that are understanding this business, the tax benefits alone should motivate them to get on board and learn a little bit and get a little bit healthier and connect with people and make a difference feeding starving kids or whatever it is that motivates you. But the bottom line is, tax-wise, if people aren't receiving the tax benefits that a home-based business affords, then they're really missing the boat. And most financial coaches or advisors will not share that tax hint with anyone. And I'm here to tell you that it's an important one, because why pay the government when you can pay yourself?
Awesome. Thanks, Marc. I've actually got a lifestyle picture up of you right now, and while I was thinking of it, I was thinking of you really like scuba diving, and tell us some of the places that you've done that at. And you probably wouldn't have been able to do that if you would have had a surgery like that.
Well, interestingly enough, I fell in love with a place called Cabo Pulmo down in Cabo, which is really not known for diving, but in the Sea of Cortez, there's this area as it meets the Pacific that has abundant sea life, very warm temperatures, and the clarity of water, as Jacques Cousteau used to call it, the aquarium of the world. And when I had my issues with my spine from that accident, and before I found Zengo, I was down there diving because it's such a passion of mine and it's weightlessness. And I will tell you that years later, after writing these goals and visualizing it and working extremely hard, I was able to get a dive spot down in the Caribbean that is really never would have come about without Zengo, without question. So it's been a blessing in so many ways.
Has to do with some of that residual income, huh?
Residual income. It's one thing to earn income. It's another thing to keep it, which goes into the tax benefits and aspects of things, but also to put your money to work for you. And sure, if I'm not enjoying it, then at least I can earn an income from it. So maybe that's for another conversation. But the point of the story is that with hard work and determination and perseverance, anything's really possible. People on this call tonight from many countries, from different time zones, from all walks of life, all come together understanding that there's a better way. And I would venture to say that if anyone put as much time and energy and passion into their own business, into their Zengo business as an example, compared to how much time and energy they put into their job for probably a stranger and the fact that it's your boss, chances are you don't really socialize with your boss outside of work. Why not put the time and energy into your business, your tax write-offs, your family, and your future? It just makes economic sense. Even if it's on a part-time basis, which it most likely is going to be at first, it just makes sense, Tom.
I've got a slide up now of some of the pictures where you're in different countries. Mark, I know you shared with me earlier today some of the countries that your organization has spread into. Can you share those with whoever's on the call?
Surely. When I first got results with the juice, I didn't know about mangosteen. I had no idea what it was, but I was desperate to get out of pain, and that's how things progressed. And once Dr. Templeman shared with me how to consume the proper amount with my particular problem, with the level of inflammation in my body, the results were still, not only were they astounding and life-changing, I still was skeptical. That's my nature. I still read things online that didn't make sense. But from there, I went to Singapore, at least on the phone, because I had a friend that would certainly know about this fruit, and his confirmation that this fruit, in fact, does everything that I said it was doing, led me first to Singapore, and from there to Mexico. When we first opened in 2004, I believe, I had several friends there, and from there, that when Mexico opened, it led to Italy and then into Spain. And I don't know which picture you have up there, but it might be of a recent trip to Madrid where we launched a 2-Minute Miracle into Europe, or it may have been in Mexico. But yes, Mexico, Colombia, Spain, and all over the world. And it's been a blessing to work with people of different cultures and nationalities and backgrounds, because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We want better health, secure futures for our families, for our children, and great qualities of life, and that's what we're spreading the word on.
Awesome. Mark, some people say it's too late or it's too early to join XYZ company. Can you share what excites you about Zengo in today's marketplace and the possible opportunities for someone looking at this right now?
Surely. I'd be happy to. most of the people I venture to say on this call have an email and most probably a Facebook account. And there's no privacy anymore, really. But with a business like this, you don't want it. It's almost like, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. No. You really want to spread the word about something that's good for yourself, for your family, for others. I will say that, when I look back to when I first started and we opened in Mexico, my Spanish was even more limited at the time, and we didn't have Spanish brochures. It was that early on. And there was really no web access, and we really had nothing. I think we had a fax on demand maybe, or something of that nature. Nothing that was going to blow someone's mind and get them interested in the business. Today, the tools reach far and wide. Between these conference calls and the webinars and the recordings and the various forms of training, not even, obviously not even talking about the expansion of the product line, but the technology and the tools available to us today allow people to leverage their time like never before. And that's really, to me, the name of the game here. Leverage. You're leveraging your health with this great xanthones and this juice and our other products. You're leveraging your time by working with a team of people that are like-minded and want to support each other, and their intentions are about abundance and serving others as opposed to holding people back and trying to get that promotion. So it's about leveraging your time, leveraging your health, and really making life better for you and your family. And it does take work. I'm not going to sit here and paint this rosy picture. It's been a very long road, and it's not always easy, but if something is worth fighting for, you'll continue to fight. And it's a beautiful life when you make a difference in the lives of others and they thank you.
I'm so glad you shared that, Mark. One of the questions that I didn't ask you earlier, but I'm going to ask this, hopefully it's okay. Do you need to know somebody to build out of country, grow a business like yours?
Not really. You just have to ask people in your own backyard, who do you know? I happen to know a couple of people in Mexico, but I'll be honest, when I went down there, kind of hit a wall. And without knowing much Spanish and being in Mexico City, it can be a little bit intimidating. But I asked for a referral, and I was persistent in that referral, and I was timely, and I was, I kept my word. And that referral has led to quite a bit of success in my career with Zango. So it's about asking for the referral. If it's not the right person, it's who they know and who they might know. So it's a great way, again, of leverage. It's not about that person you're talking to necessarily. It could be about their circle of influence.
Absolutely. Good point. Thank you. Referrals are so important. I know you've told that story for many years on how you found the referrals and, to build your business internationally. And, that's a extremely powerful story. So I thank you for sharing that part of it.
My pleasure.
Yeah. What do you think is the most powerful thing you've learned since becoming a network marketing success? That's sort of a wide open question too.
Okay, that's a good question, actually. Tom, I didn't think you would catch me off guard, but you maybe have a little bit. I would have to say that, I've heard this cliche over the years, and at first I thought maybe it was a little bit corny, but as time goes on, and I think it's really quite true, that this business allows for ordinary people like myself to do extraordinary things. And, look, I could have stayed on track and being the CPA and probably become a partner of the firm, or gone on to do what most CPAs do. They would be a CFO at a company and have very good financial success. But I wanted a different lifestyle. I wanted more time freedom. I wanted time to enjoy my success, as opposed to just, banking it and putting it away for a rainy day and not having the time to enjoy it. So for anyone that's listening, no matter what your background is, your color, creed, sex, race, religion, it doesn't matter. There's no prejudice here. Leave your ego at the door, because anything is possible if you can dream big enough and you have the focus and the passion and the support and like-minded people that are by your side. I mean, anything is really possible. And I think that this industry allows for an even playing field in a global economy that's gone mad. I think anyone that's called that has a pulse knows that no matter what rosy colors they're painting in the White House, it's not a comfortable feeling out in the economy right now, not just here but elsewhere. I mean, some of these countries in Europe are on the verge of collapse, and it's things are changing. Network marketing will continue to allow people to create their own income without having to rely upon someone that may or may not have their best interest in mind. And unfortunately, I hate to break it to you, most likely they don't have your best interest in mind. It's a bigger picture for them and not for you. The playing field in network marketing allows for anyone to do whatever they want with a lot of effort and passion. And I like the sweat equity that it calls for. You don't have to have a large capital investment. The only risk is losing a little bit of time, but you can change your life and the life of your children by putting in the effort and energy now and learning about different ways of making money, earning money, saving money, and investing it for the future.
Boy, I can really hear that CPA mindset coming out in you.
I still don't think many CPAs will tell you about the benefits of a home-based business, but yes, I mean it is about, smart financial sense. And I think with people today a lot of people are on a limited budget, to put to work your money, even on a couple of $100s a month, to invest in your health and to get tax benefits probably equaling in the thousands. I'm not going to make any, I'm not giving tax advice here, and I'm not telling you how much money you're going to save exactly, but I know if it's treated properly with the intent of running a business, even on a part-time basis, anyone can invest a couple $100 a month in their health, start sharing that with others, and earn great tax benefits that'll more than pay for the investment in their health. It makes sense. It makes sense. Even if you never make a dime in income, you'll still you'll save money in taxes, and you'll get healthier. It's really a win-win for me.
There's that economic and business degree coming out. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Sure.
Well, I'm going to ask you one more question, and then we're going to close it down in a minute here. But if you had to start all over again and knew no one, what's the first thing you'd do to grow your MLM business from scratch? That's sort of a tough question.
And knew no one? I mean, I learned something recently, and it's funny because it didn't make much sense when I first heard it, but I listened to it a second and third time, and I realized there's a lot of truth in it. A lot of people will get into this business for a variety of reasons. Everyone has their own reason. But as you start talking to people, maybe you'll get a couple of no's, maybe you'll get a couple of strange looks, and then you start second-guessing yourself. I think the most important bit of information I can give anyone is sell yourself first before you try to sell anyone else. And you may not like me using the word sell, but let's face it, I don't care if it's a sales job or a CPA job, you have to sell yourself. That's just the way it is. In any business, in any venture, you have to sell yourself. So do yourself a favor and sell yourself first, because if you're not 110% convinced that this company, these products, the people that are surrounding you with this are the right path for you, then how can you possibly share that with anyone else and sell anyone else on that dream if you're not completely convinced yourself? So I think that belief in what you've got and in yourself first It has to start there. If you want me to give you one more tip, because it does have to start there, I would join a networking group. I would say most people have a Facebook page. They can start connecting with people there, just, asking them where they are in their lives and seeing if there's an opening. But I would join a networking group. I'm kind of more old school, as much as it's important to be new school online and social media. I like face-to-face, so I like these different networking groups you can join to, they're like breakfast groups, and you'll meet with different professionals, and it's a great way to align with people. It could be chiropractors, massage therapists, salons, different professions that are networking there as well. And it's a great way to meet people that would be interested in health and wellness.
Wow, Mark, I'm so glad you shared that and your expertise in those areas. Very, very important. I've heard some things out that you've talked about that, other people don't talk about too much, and so I'm glad you brought up those areas and shared those. You sent this quote. I didn't get time to get it up on a slide, but maybe I could read this. I've never seen this quote before in my life, and I had to read it about 3 times before I even began to understand it.
Right. I know it sounds a little bit strange at first, but I think it'll be conclusive as far as how I think and hopefully what I shared this evening.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and read this, folks, and maybe I'll read it more than once just so you really get it, and who the author is. I think I got that here. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your existence is an act of rebellion. Never heard that one. Okay, now I'm going to look at you, Mark, in a completely different way. Anyway, if you want to look that up, folks, it's by Albert Camus, Camus. You can look that up. And so I'm going to repeat that again. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your existence is an act of rebellion. You know what? Sometimes you've got to show other people that you're going to do it regardless and no matter what. Right, Mark?
Absolutely. I mean, while you need people along the way, you want to develop relationships. This is a relationship business. You can't live your life for others, and everyone has their own paradigms, and this industry has come such a long way, and I think it's proven itself time and time again, but there are still people out there that don't quite get it or not willing to listen. My suggestion to anyone here that is listening is don't let anyone, squelch your dreams, and certainly do your own investigation and find out what's best for you. And the last thing, I forgot who said this. It may have been Jim Rohn, but if you want better things, if you want to be better, if you want to have better things in your life, you've got to become better. And to become better takes an investment. It takes sweat equity. It doesn't take a lot of money in this business, but it definitely takes some time and energy. And I promise you, the worst thing that will happen is you'll get healthier, you become a better person, you become a better communicator, you'll get great tax benefits, and you may just make some money, and if you work really hard, a tremendous amount of money, and have a lifestyle that ordinary people like you and I become extraordinary. And I appreciate your time tonight, and the people that you were able to connect on to the call, and I was able to share some of my insight and experience with tonight, Tom. It's always a pleasure. I want to close by saying, yeah, I have known you and Carol, your lovely wife, for a long time now, and I have to say you're some of the most gracious people I've ever met, and it's an honor to be here with you this evening and work with you in any way I can to get the message out about this great opportunity today more than ever before with Zengo.
Mark, Carol here. I just wanted to jump in and say, well, first of all, thank you for that kindness. That was very kind of you. And thank you so much. I mean, when I listened to the quote that you shared, it just reminds me of that power of that freedom and how important it is. We certainly, and the people who have come to know you, are grateful, I'm sure, for that freedom that you stepped out into. And so, you know, I am just so appreciative that you were there to take the time and jump on the call with us to share your knowledge, and for taking the time to share all of these great tips that you provided. So thank you so much for that.
My pleasure. Thank you.
You bet. And so we'd like to say good night, but before I do, again, like Marc had shared, you know, for those of you who invited somebody on the call, we'd like you to get back with that person and share more of this powerful information. For anybody who jumped on alone, please get back with the person who invited you on the call and let us fill in any of the deets that we can. And then last minute thing, we just shared our own little quote there, and I think this is also powerful. The secret of success in life is for a man or a woman to be ready for their opportunity when it comes. So keep that in mind. And remember, life is powerful when you choose to take advantage of that power. Thanks again, Marc. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Carol. Good night.
Good night, everyone.